What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here. So in this video, I just wanted to go over my favorite legendary weapons in the game. This would kind of be like a list of what I would take into Final Shape if I had to delete my entire vault and I could only take like the weapons on my 3 characters. I will cheat a little bit, but it's more just to give you options. Like I have a bunch of fusion rifles on a different character, but I just want to give you options so you know what to start farming for going into the Final Shape. So we'll just start with primaries and we'll start in the kinetic slot. I love this Fatebringer because it has Osmosis, which is really good for builds, especially on something like Solar, because you could run Ember of Empyrean, and then you could extend Radiant and Restoration with your kinetic slot weapon. When you throw down your grenade, this would make it Solar. So I really like that. I wish this was Frenzy, because I would love to have Frenzy over Firefly, but Firefly is really nice too, and Explosive Payload's obviously awesome. Firefright would be my go-to auto rifle if I need Osmosis for the same reason. Auto rifles are actually in a decent place now, so 7 Seraph Carbine is the one I normally use. I have Reconstruction Frenzy. You'll see I use a lot of the same perks, and I'm working on a video to go over like what I think the best perks in the game are for endgame PvE. So yeah, Reconstruction, Frenzy, I don't have to reload very much, and Frenzy is pretty much always active, so I love this thing. The Battle Scar, I've got Shoot to Loot with Kinetic Tremors. You can farm these, I believe, now in Lost Sectors. I've gotten very lucky, like this is a perfect god roll for me. Arrowhead Break for the recoil direction, Range Masterwork, Flared Magwell is my favorite. And then these 2 perks, so Shoot to Loot is obviously great, and Kinetic Tremors is nice on any weapon, and it's really good on primaries. So yeah, I got very lucky with that roll, so try to get one of those. I think it's a really good weapon. Same perks on this thing, the Hung Jury, I don't think you can get anymore, but Shoot to Loot and Kinetic Tremors is really nice. And I've got Subsistence, which is another perk I really like. Then I've got the Showrunner. So this weapon I haven't even really used. You can see 12 defeats, but Well-Rounded is a really nice perk. Throwing a grenade or hitting a target with a charge melee grants a stacking bonus. Sorry, I was thinking of Enlightened Action. Well-Rounded is not bad in a ability focused build, so it's not terrible. I don't know what else this thing can roll with, but it looks pretty sweet with the Jacarina shader. And Kinetic Tremors on an SMG could be really, really nice. And I've got Extended Mag. I don't know if that'll push it to be able to proc Kinetic Tremors twice in one clip. But yeah, whenever SMGs come back to the artifact, they haven't been around for a while, this one could be really nice. Tears of Contrition, it's a kinetic scout rifle with explosive payload. So you'll notice pretty much all my weapons, all my weapons for primaries are kinetic, rather than stasis or strand. That is because kinetics just deal more damage intrinsically, and again, in high-end PvE I prefer that. There are some that aren't bad. The Recanter bow and the bow from the Warlord's Ruin, Vengeful Whisper. It can roll Archer's Tent Bow and Hatchling, which is really nice. So yeah, there are some strand or stasis weapons that are nice for build synergy, but overall I like kinetic primaries myself. Submission, Subsistence Frenzy, again, I love those perk combinations. This is just a really nice roll. I also have a Subsistence Demo one because I really like Demolitionist. This is strictly for Lucky Pants. Lucky Pants with Enlightened Action, Extended Mag, and Vorpal. I also have one with 4th times a charm, but with Extended Mag, the 22 shots, the Lucky Pants boost runs out just as you run out of ammo. So this is a really nice roll right there. So I would try to get one. You can get one from Nightfalls this season. And you might laugh at me for this. Sadly, you can't get it anymore. But Timed Payload is really nice on hand cannons if there's overload hand cannon on the artifact, because it can stun overloads in 2 less shots. So I really like that, but unfortunately, I don't know if you can get it outside of like maybe Xur or Dares of Eternity. So then we move to the energy slot. I actually meant to put this in the vault, but I like it again because 4th times and Frenzy, and it's got a lot of range. So it's good for like if anti-barrier auto rifle is on the artifact. but sadly you can't get this one anymore. But a good replacement would be the Amit AR4, surplus incandescent, so you get that Solar 3.0 synergy. So I really like this role. Zali's Bane is from the Kingsfall raid. I have explosive payload, which actually kind of deals more damage than like other perks in a roundabout way. It deals more body shot damage. And then One for All, when you hit 3 enemies, it deals 35% more damage. So with these two things, it pretty much hits as hard as Sunshot. So it's really good. And you can get Enhanced Incandescent if you have the pattern. So that's really good, again, for Solar 3.0 synergy. Igneous Hammer, I like Golden Tricorn. This is really nice with like an Ophidia Spathe build because you can get 1 kill and then get a melee kill with your knives, and then you have a 50% damage bonus. So that one's nice. And again, just another solar option for a hand cannon. Nation of Beasts from the Last Wish raid. Dragonfly Volt Shot, really good for ad clear. This is from the Crota's End raid. It's just a void hand cannon. So yeah, you'll notice a lot of hand cannons in every element. That is because hand cannons are super good now in PvE. Sword Logic is a really nice perk, and then Subsistence, like I said, I really like it. This is the Adept version. Heliocentric, Demolitionist Frenzy, again, 2 of my favorite perks in the entire game. So this sidearm is really good, even though I don't use sidearms that much. This, you can't get this particular Ikelos SMG because we're on version 1.0.3 now. But again, 2 of my favorite perks. But Feeding Frenzy Volt Shot or Feeding Frenzy and Frenzy can roll on this, so that's really nice to get. And I think you can farm these from one of those exotic missions that they have in the Legends. It's on a 3-week rotation. So yeah, I think it's this one, the Seraph Shield. And then Tyranny of Heaven for a nice bow. And then I've got some other primaries to show you. But before we get to that, I just want to go through the machine guns that I would try to farm. So I have 3 Song of Ear Utes, and I actually have a 4th one in my vault, embarrassingly. But this has really good rolls, so Demolitionist Sword Logic, Reconstruction Bait and Switch, Feeding Frenzy Volt Shot. So just kind of take your pick. This is from Crota's End, a really good machine gun. Fixed Odds is from the Duality Dungeon, Field Prep Incandescent. I've used it a ton this season. You can see I have almost 12,000 kills. Thing's a monster. Commemoration from the Deepstone Crypt raid. This is pretty much the God roll, Reconstruction Killing Tally. That'd be the roll I'd go for. And then this is from Vault of Glass, Demolitionist Thresh. So I really like it in a Controverse Hold build because of Demolitionist. So getting that ability energy back is really nice. I got super lucky with this. I was actually keeping 2 Neomuna machine guns for the longest time, but then this one dropped with Demolitionist and Hatchling, so it's kind of the best of both worlds. Because the Neomuna one, what's it called? Circular Logic. I had one with Hatchling and one with Demo, and now I've got both. This is just a world drop, and again, I think you can farm it from Lost Sectors. Cataclysmic is from Vow of the Disciple raid. Bait and Switch is getting a nerf. It might have already happened depending when this video comes out. But still a monster option. Even though linear fusions aren't the most meta anymore, they're still really good. And then Briar's Contempt from the Root of Nightmare raid, Envious Assassin and Frenzy. I like this for solo stuff because it's pretty much always reloaded. And then Frenzy, I pretty much always have a damage perk up. So now we're gonna mix and match the weapons a little bit. I got some specials here and some primaries. So let's just stick with the primaries because that's what we were just talking about. Here's another nice solar auto rifle. This one is from the Crota's End raid. Again, incandescent, but Amit would work just as well, if not better. I think I like Amit more, to be honest, and that's just a world drop. Again, I meant to take this off my character, but I do have a subsistence funnel web, and that's my PvE role. Staccato with Shoot to Loot explosive payload. I already talked about how good explosive payload is and how good Shoot to Loot is, especially in like solo GMs and stuff. So I really like this role. The reason I have 0 enemies defeated is I accidentally deleted my old role of this, and I farmed a whole bunch from the gunsmith and was finally able to focus one. So got lucky with RNG. Ross Arago, super good void auto rifle. I've got Subsistence Onslaught. Rewind rounds is also good in that left slot. Probably better in higher end content, but this one's a little better in lower end content with subsistence. And the Under Your Skin bow is really, really nice with Archer's Tempo and Successful Warm-Up. It was from the season that launched with the Witch Queen, whatever one that was, the Psyops Battleground season or whatever. And then, yeah, we'll look at some special weapons. So this is from the Ghost of the Deep dungeon. I've got Demolitionist, Adrenaline Junkie. It pairs nicely together. 100 velocity, 100 blast radius, good reload speed. Yeah, this thing's pretty awesome. It's nice to have a wave frame in the top slot. And we're getting a wave frame in Iron Banner, a strand one. So that also might be worth farming. Speaking of Iron Banner, this is pretty much the best kinetic slot shotgun for pellets in the game. And I'm not sure all what it rolls in the left column, but shot swap is really nice. And I got assault mag and Vorpal weapon. So yeah, this is a really, really nice roll. Just for like, if you're doing tractor cannon and double slug swapping, this is a really good roll. That's why I have this. And then if slug shotguns, these are some copium rolls, but if they ever come back, I've got a Vorpal weapon roll, which on a special does 15%. And then I've got a surrounded roll, which if you can proc surrounded on the damage, like on the boss or whatever, that's good. And I've got assault mag on that one. Unfortunately, not on this one. You do want disorienting grenades on a grenade launcher in your energy slot and your kinetic slot. So this is one that you can craft just from Dares of Eternity. So really easy to get if you have 30th anniversary, that is. But yeah. And then a Deliverance for damage in Cornered and Surrounded. And then one for utility with Demolitionist Chill Clip. These are from the Vow of the Disciple raid. So then Path of Least Resistance is a nice trace rifle because you can get shoot to loot. So it pairs really nicely with like a Cenotaph Warlock. And then Empty Vessel. So this is my disorienting GL. I've got a few like in different elements, but it's not so important to have every element anymore because match game's gone. So just try to get one. But yeah, Empty Vessel is one that I believe you can still get from Strikes. Ikelos Sniper Rifle is craftable from Season of the Seraph. 4th times Focus Fury, really nice roll. These had a ammo reserve buff a while ago, so they have deep reserves, and then they also got a damage buff not so long ago. So these are hitting pretty nice these days. Forbearance, obviously an Ad Clear Machine with Ambitious Assassin Chain Reaction. Mine's not crafted, it's the Adept version. It's nice because I get some other options. But yeah, try to farm that if you can. If not, if you're more into strikes than raids, this Undercurrent, I haven't used that much, as you can see, but it should be really nice. Stats for all, that'll give it really fast reload, which pairs nicely with Volt Shot. And I have Demolitionist in case I'm running like a build where I want grenades. So that was my personal god roll. So yeah, farm that out if you can this season. Now we'll get into some GLs and swords. So Envious Assassin is getting a nerf. Again, I'm not sure when this video will actually come out. So it may have already been nerfed. But with Surrounded, if you can proc Surrounded, and with Envious Assassin, this is one of the highest burst damage heavy weapons in the game. And then speaking of, we've got Envious Assassin 1 for all, same type of thing. So Bait and Switch is getting nerfed, which is what this one has. So this is getting a 5% nerf. And also Spike Grenades are getting nerfed a bit. So Mini Frags actually gives 1 more in the mag, and Alloy Casing gives more to reload speed. So this is pretty much the god roll now, as far as I'm concerned, depending where Spike Grenades actually land, like what the difference in damage is. But if this can hold like 1 or 2 more in the mag thanks to Envious Assassin, then this would actually be the god roll in my opinion with Mini Frags. You can still get it from Trials, even though trying to get Flawless, I guess you don't have to get Flawless. Mine's not Adept, but just grinding Trials late in the season in general is a nightmare. This can get auto-loading Explosive Light, which is a 25% damage boost, but you get it for all the shots, where Bait and Switch, you lose it on 1 shot. So this could actually be decent, even though Void Weapons typically aren't really the meta for boss damage. And then we get into swords. This is from the Deepstone Crypt raid. Enhanced Surrounded and Relentless Strikes. God, I love how this looks with that the haunting, whatever the heck, the Halloween shader. It looks awesome. But anyways, this is the meta for Crota. This isn't as good as it used to be, but again, I think you can get it from the Gunsmith sometimes, or maybe Xur or Dares of Eternity. But it's a decent sword, Vortex frame. And then these are getting a buff. You can't get Soulless Scar anymore, but the Chivalric Fire is the ritual weapon this season. And I actually haven't really used it, but depending where these caster frames land, it could be decent. And then you do want to farm an Eager Edge sword, in my opinion. So yeah, these are both from Dares of Eternity, just nice for getting around. Alright, so I kind of cheated because I have more than 30 energy weapons, but again, some of it is fusion rifles and others are glaives, and I just want to show you options. And there will be no glaive slander here. I really like glaives, they're really good in endgame content, and I just want to talk about some of the best ones. So Unexpected Resurgence, this is from Trials. I got Autoloading Frenzy, which is pretty much my god roll because I hate reloading glaives, and Frenzy's really good. And then I also have one with Impulse Amplifier, which increases the reload speed, Reload Masterwork, Volt Shot, and Frenzy. And I run Adept Reload on it, but you could run like a whatever spec you want to run. But yeah, so really good. I think you can still get it from Trials. And then for another Arc glaive that's probably easier to get, and arguably my favorite glaive in the game, is Demolitionist Frenzy on Nezarec's Whisper. This was from Season of the Haunted. Again, you can get that, I think, from farming the Presage mission. So this thing is a beast. Demolitionist, Enhanced Demolitionist on this thing, I think gives 20% back per kill. I think that's just specific to glaives. And I actually made a build video on a Arcoil Titan, Heart of Inmost Light, and yeah, you pretty much have unlimited grenades if you're running this. It's unreal. So super good glaive, probably the best one in the game. This one's probably the one I have the most kills on, 13,000. Impulse Amplifier, Frenzy, so same type of roll as I have here, because this increases reload speed and the projectile velocity, and then this also increases reload speed and the handling and damage. So yeah, super good perks. Close to melee is good in like melee based builds if you wanted to use like Worm God's Caress or Syntheseps or something, or the Triton Vice on Hunter, or the Winter's Guile on Warlock. And then this is from Vow of the Disciple Raid, Grave Robber Swashbuckler, so that'll reload your glaive, which is really nice. So yeah, there's some really good glaives out there. And then the Greasy Luck from Ghost of the Deep is very cool. It's like a harpoon, super cool looking weapon. But yeah, those are some of my favorite glaives, and then we already talked about the rest, so now I'll switch over to my Titan. Alright, so my Titan had the special weapons that I would want going into Lightfall, but again, a lot of these fusion rifles are just for options, but we'll start up here. So I've got a Reconstruction Vorpal Succession. This is from the Deepstone Crypt. I have a ton of kills on this thing. I got it very early on after Beyond Light. Absolutely love it. You want a mag increasing perk like Tac Mag or Extended Mag. Ideally Tac Mag because you also get reload speed. And then Reconstruction Vorpal. Very nice. It also rolls Firing Line now. So you might want to craft 2 rolls if you get the pattern. And then Defiance of Yasmin, again, I talked about how much I like Shoot to Loot, and it can roll Vorpal Weapon, which is 15% more damage on champions and bosses and stuff. So this is just a utility weapon. Again, I really like these as opposed to, I can't remember the sniper from the new dungeon, something Lance. But anyways, Stasis and Strand special weapons are going to hit 15% less hard than kinetic special weapons. So, sorry, I was looking at Swordbreaker when I was saying that. You can also get this on the Dares of Eternity Wastelander 1-2 punch, but the reason I like this is specifically for Strand because of Demolitionist. So when you cast your grapple melee on Strand Titan, that'll reload your Swordbreaker. So you never really have to reload Swordbreaker. And with this weapon in particular, you're not so worried about the damage, so that 15% loss that you would lose if you were using a Wastelander, more than makes up for it because you don't really have to reload it, and we're more using it for 1-2 punch than just outright damage. And I already showed you the Reese Walker shotgun with Vorpal Weapon. That's kind of the option you want to go with over Wastelander anyways in the top slot. But Wastelander's craftable, so if you don't get lucky from Saladin, it'd be a good option. I talked about disorienting grenades. This one, God, that's a sweet looking weapon. It's from Duality, disorienting grenades, and I have chill clip and auto loading, so this is really nice, but this is all RNG, so I got lucky when I got that. Heritage, reconstruction, recombination, an absolute beast for taking out enemies. Again, I got really lucky. I got this to drop back in the day, so I didn't have to craft it. I do have the pattern. I could. I just don't want to because, I don't know, I'm weird like that. I like having it as like a random drop. But anyway, actually, I should be running fluted on this all these times. Oh my gosh. Wow, this thing's going to feel so much better now. I love handling. I can't believe I never noticed that. More handling and stability at the cost of a bit of range. I'll take that. So anyways, Heritage, go to Slug Shotgun in the kinetic slot. And I showed you the Fortissimos. But yeah, I would definitely try to get these weapons from Deepstone Crypt. I actually didn't farm Deepstone when it became farmable. I just would do Taniks every week. And he's super easy to beat, and then you can buy a guaranteed red border. So if you have Spoils of Conquest, because you do have to spend that to get it, wherever spoils are, then I would recommend it. So yeah, those are really good weapons that you want. Riptide is my favorite, like chill clip fusion rifle. It's awesome. Definitely try to get one of these from Crucible. I even have one with Vorpal Weapon and Frenzy, and chill clip. I didn't notice this had chill clip. Or maybe it was because, oh yeah, no I did. That's why I kept it around. But what I like about this one is it's charge time masterwork and accelerated coils. So it can apply your chill clip faster and faster and faster. Where this one, if it had those perks, would be a god roll and I would just delete the other one. But yeah, super good fusion rifle. I can't believe the RNG on this. 15% from that, 15% from that, and chill clip. That's a really nice roll. So Supremacy. These rapid fires are pretty much the king of sniper rifle DPS. So not total damage, but actually they could be with total damage with the reserve buff. But yeah, for DPS. So bait and switch is really nice. Again, it's getting a bit of a hit. So I do kind of want to do some testing once that nerf takes place and see if kinetic tremors is the way to go. I've got 2 crafted just because I'm weird. But yeah, either one of these rolls, really good. And then Scatter Signal, I've got Slice and Controlled Burst, but Overflow and Controlled Burst is the way to go for DPS. I just liked this because this season in particular has... Where the hell is it? Torch. While Radiant, deal increased weapon damage to combatants affected by Strand and Stasis debuffs. So you'll get a little more damage because you're able to sever when you cast your class ability. It was like for a thing that I was specifically using. But Overflow Controlled Burst is pretty much the way to go. And then when we come down here, this was from Season of the Witch, Envious Assassin Controlled Burst. Again, Envious is getting a bit of a hit, so that will also hurt this, the Royal Executioner, from the Lightfall season. Envious Reservoir Burst. So Reservoir Burst is actually more than Controlled Burst, but once you hit 6 in the mag, you no longer get that damage bonus. But yeah, both of these are nice. And then Xur has been selling God Roll after God Roll of the Cartesian. This is my OG one. But yeah, he's been selling like Charge Time Masterwork, Vorpal Weapon, Lead from Gold. So definitely keep an eye on Xur and try to get a good Cartesian. I think it's really good, and I even used it on Day 1 Crota. So yeah. Indebted Kindness, the sidearm from the new dungeon, is an absolute beast. I've been using it a lot in GMs because of anti-barrier. This is a pretty nice roll. Lead from Gold, Volt Shot. Personally, I'd prefer Impulse Amplifier for that reload speed, but that's alright. And then I kept a Beacon Rounds Deconstruct, and I've actually been using that a lot. You can see 2,900 kills. So yeah, try to get a good one of these. I like this one for Volt Shot, Iterative Loop. It just comes from Neomuna. This is from Nightfalls. You can farm it this season. This is an old one. I'm not sure how to get it. I think that thing by the vault, the monument or whatever, But yeah, Null Composure is nice. This is from King's Fall, Cornered Surrounded, so it's a DPS option. And then Rewind Rounds, Controlled Burst. This one's from Last Wish. So yeah, these are your options at Fusion. And I already went over the snipers that I would use and the shotguns and everything like that. So now we just have rockets left. But first, I want to talk about this. So grenade launchers are getting a reserve buff, but these ones in particular are getting a big damage buff. And I am going to try it in something. I don't want to say what, but I have an idea where this one could really shine. So it's craftable from Neomuna. Might be worth getting your hands on, just saying. So yeah, this is actually the role I went with, but Unrelenting Chain Reaction could be good too. But depending like kind of how it hits, I'm going to have to test both out because truth be told, I haven't really used it because it's kind of been crap. So I'm excited to see these changes that are coming. And then there's also changes to rocket launchers coming, which will make like high impacts slightly better, I believe. I can't remember exactly what the changes are. But yeah, Braytech Osprey, you can farm from Nightfalls this season. I was trying to get the Envious Assassin Frenzy roll forever, but was never able to. But this roll is not bad. I got nothing that can increase reload speed. But yeah, so not a bad weapon. Red Herring is from Savathun's Throne World. I've used this to solo GMs. Frenzy, as you know, I love, and it's very, very good. And then Field Prep Clown Cartridge. I messed up because I had a Crux Termination with Clown Cartridge and Explosive Light. So that thing would have been a beast because you typically can't get Clown Cartridge with a damage perk. But on Crux Termination in particular, you can. And I was just doing an activity and just went, because it's just second nature to just auto delete pretty much everything I get. So I really regret that, and hopefully it drops for me again one day. Cold Comfort, the Envious Assassin bait and switch roll is getting hit, so Impulse Amplifier, Explosive Light might not be too bad. But again, who knows? Like Stasis is never really the damage meta, but Solar is, so we'll get to that in a second. And then Tracking Module Explosive Light, so yeah, I got a couple hotheads. And then Apex Predator. If you don't raid or whatever, I think we get like 5 or 6 weeks of Riven's Wishes. Get the 5 patterns for Apex Predator because all 3 of these rolls I use. Look at this, 978 kills, 569. Obviously a ton on this one, 2443, but keep in mind this is a heavy rocket launcher that is often used for damage. So like, and you don't get a lot of rockets. So that tells you how much I'm actually using these. These are all viable rolls. Bipod is nice in an instance where you kind of want to maybe use a rocket launcher for DPS. And with Reconstruction, it can hold 4 in the mag. So yeah, I just got lucky when I was farming all these red borders. I got these rolls. Reconstruction, Explosive Light. Again, Bait and Switch is getting hit. And Bait and Switch does get a damage bonus from Wolfpack rounds, where Explosive Light does not. Like you get the damage bonus on the rocket, but not the Wolfpack rounds, but Bait and Switch does. So this is still going to be the king for like DPS rotations, but Bait and Switch, your first rocket hits for less damage, and then you proc Bait and Switch for 10 seconds. And that's going from a 35% to a 30% buff. Where Explosive Light, you get 6 rockets, like you can only get 6 Explosive Light shots, so it may not be the best for DPS if you're rolling in with like 9 reserves because you rallied with ammo reserves on. But if you can find a way to get orbs halfway through the damage rotation, then I haven't done the math on it, but it would be pretty close because you might lose 1 or 2 rockets to proccing Bait and Switch, and now this is only a 5% difference. But where this is really nice is in Grandmasters, because Explosive Light increases the blast radius and damage. So you're getting max blast radius, so it goes from 50 to 100. So this all of a sudden becomes really good for ad clear. And it's really nice because I did solo Birthplace of the Vile with this one, and the Overload Chieftain, you shoot 2 Explosive Light rockets into it and it's dead. where there's not a lot of time to kill it on that final phase of the boss fight, and it's very tough to proc bait and switch because the ads are like spawning in. So like I said, Explosive Light really does have a play, especially in GMs, because even if you're in a fire team, you're kind of always rolling through picking up orbs, and as you do that, you're always going to have Explosive Light available to you as long as you're not dying too much. So all your rockets are going to be 25% buffed, where with bait and switch, your first one isn't, and then your second one is going to be hitting for 30% damage once this nerf takes place. So yeah, basically what I'm saying is get the pattern, because you might want all these rolls at some point. Dead serious. And that is pretty much going to wrap it up for the weapons that I would be taking into, again, I wouldn't take necessarily, like I wouldn't take this, but I just wanted to show you some good options for fusion rifles that you can get, because fusions are actually really good in PvE. But yeah, that was all the weapons that I would want going into Final Shape. So like the video if you enjoyed it, and yeah, tell me some of your favorite weapons down below, what ones that you use the most. Because I went through my whole vault, and again, some of the glaives and some of the fusions I was just showing for examples for you to farm, but I pretty much use all those weapons. And as I was looking through my vault, I was like, wow, I don't use this, I don't use this. They're like nice to have options, but I tend to gravitate towards like the same few over and over. So yeah, anyways, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and take care.